Only a Sith deals in absolutes. And I am absolutely going down this slide! Unlimited playground!
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Thursday, February 27th, 2025. I'm Jay Skeets here in the Classic Factory, and alongside me, as always, Tass Mellis.
Hey, basketball lovers, this one's for you.
Next to him, it's the bearded one, my top shot hot boy, Trey Kirby. Hey, yo. And over yonder, making the magic happen, super producer JD.
Hello.
There he is. Here we are. Hopefully live right now on YouTube. YouTube's being real weird this morning. Trying to set up these shows, not only this one, but we got no buffs later. I don't know what was going on, JD.
Yeah.
I think we're live.
It looks live.
I think
Okay.
we're live. Yeah.
Just infuriating when something doesn't work.
I know. And then we had a big coffee spill.
Oh, yeah, I've had a day.
It was, yeah.
Had a day already, and it's not even 10:10. But hello to everyone. Hit the like button, subscribe, podcast listeners, 5-star ratings and reviews. On today's show, we're going to discuss Shaedon Sharpe's insane dunk. Was that the dunk of the year? Paul George is taking a break from podcasting. We'll get into that.
Mm-hmm. Not us, Paul.
Nope.
Maybe YouTube's
Every
not
day.
working for him.
Yeah,
Maybe that's what it
that's
is.
right. We shut it down. We'll get into the WNBA GOAT talk, but first, some games last night, and the big one, the one everybody's talking about, and rightfully so, the Detroit Pistons. Another Detroit dub as they beat the Celtics by 20 to run their win streak to 8 straight. And they did end a 12-game losing streak to the Celtics. This is a team that they have not beaten in a while, but 8 straight tasks and pretty dominant fashion, especially in the second half when it looked like, close game at half and you're like, okay, here we go. Boston will probably pull away.
Right.
The opposite happened. It was Detroit, good third quarter, great start to the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I definitely thought this was the Celtics game watching it because the threes were a splash and they're beating the Pistons in the 3-ball department. But the Pistons were grinding. They're winning in fast breaks. They're winning in points in the paint. They're winning in bench points. And in the third quarter, thought, yeah, the Boston crowd is there in Detroit. Kept hearing Boston fans cheering. But the third quarter, they got to the defense. They had Tobias Harris on Kristaps Porzingis. JB Bickerstaff saying, that's how we're going to push him out of the lane, put Jalen Duren on Al Horford. Definitely worked. Porzingis had a quiet night. And Asar Thompson was on Jayson Tatum. Asar doing an incredible job out there. Now, Jayson Tatum had a lot on his shoulders, and the Pistons defense were just focused on him because Jaylen Brown was not in the game. That was a part of it. And I know everybody tweeting that Jaylen Brown old training camp audio where he said,
right.
yeah, you know what we're going to do this season? If we're playing the Detroit Pistons, we're going to go through Sam Hauser. We're going to go through Payton Pritchard. He's going to score 30 points, and we're still going to win. Anyway, they did not. Jaylen Brown was not out there. But they destroyed the Pistons in the 3-ball department, plus 24. But they got hammered in points in the paint by 42 off the bench, by 23, and by points on fast breaks by 21. They're second in the NBA, the Pistons are, because they get those steals and they get out to running, and they're a great second half defensive team. They are. I keep talking about it over and over during this win streak. They allow the 6th fewest points in second half in the NBA, and that's a part of why they've beaten all these teams. Now, this one is by far their biggest victory of all these.
Yeah.
It's Philadelphia,
Definitely.
the Hornets, a couple Bulls, a Spurs, a Hawks, a Clippers, then Celtics. So by far, they got to grinding, and they outgrinded. They definitely outgrinded the Celtics team.
This is probably their biggest win in like 5 years.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we've ever led the show with the Pistons since we've been doing no dunks. Maybe when they got the draft lottery and got Cade Cunningham.
Good question. Yeah.
But like, why else
Few
would
and
they
far
be
between.
leading it?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe during the losing streak.
Yeah.
Definitely, this is the first time they've led the show for a good reason
Yeah.
for their on-court basketball, and the resiliency was super impressive. Because the Celtics have handled the Pistons so far this season. They did have a Payton Pritchard game where he had 27, 10 for 20 from the field. So the Pistons said, this is the biggest game we've played in at least half a decade. They're coming here. They've embarrassed us before. The Celtics go on that huge run at the end of the first half. And like you're saying, Tass, they go into halftime. It was easy to be thinking, this is a game that the Celtics are going to come out in the third quarter, blow it open, and it was a fun win streak for the Pistons, and it was the complete opposite. They were all over the court defensively. Asar Thompson kind of putting the clamps on Jayson Tatum. Like, Tatum still had a great night.
Yeah.
But there's some great moments from Asar Thompson. The assists were great, 29 assists on 47 makes. That's 61% of their field goals. That's kind of how the Pistons have been getting it done, and they were always in transition last night. Forced 18 turnovers, won the fast break battle, 29-8, and Malik Beasley just went off, man. This guy has been on quite the heater, having an awesome season, and he might be the best celebrator we've got in the NBA right now.
He really pulled out, it felt like every celebration last night.
Yeah.
He was shimmying left and right. That's sort of his go-to celebration. He dropped a too small on a three-pointer.
On a three.
That's rare.
Yeah.
Usually you're doing that in the post over a smaller guy. He had another one, I don't even know how to describe it, where he sort of finished an odd little fast break. It was almost sort of like an alley-oop layup. And he did like a weird like sort of dancing thing with his hands, like trot almost. Again, I'm not doing a great job of explaining it, but he was looking at the bench and they're all laughing. Like no one was having more fun than Malik Beasley. And the way his season's been going,
incredible.
Can you blame him? Yeah, 26 last night, 10 of 15 shooting, hit 6 threes, 5 boards. He was a plus 12. He's also battling a guy for 6th man of the year in Payton Pritchard, who shot okay, 6 of 10. He had a bunch of threes.
Oh, he had a good night.
But those are the two right now. Those are the odds-on favorites. I mean, Pritchard's still the favorite on BetMGM, but the odds are increasing or getting, lower there for Malik Beasley and his chances to win this thing.
Oh, he's very aware of it. I think he was aware of it when he stole a rebound from Payton Pritchard. He went and grabbed it from Payton Pritchard. We got the clip there where he just goes over him and then he stares him down.
Give me that.
And says, "This is my award." And he is leading he is leading 6th man of the year in bench points over Payton Pritchard. Now, he's not number one, but he is scoring 15.7 off the bench versus Pritchard's 14. And Payton Pritchard's a more efficient shooter, and he freaking rebounds like a madman out there. He is really
Not
good.
that one.
No, not that madman.
Not that one.
Not that particular one. But yeah, it's a close race. It literally is a very close race, and he's. The whole Pritchard versus DeAndre Hunter we had going earlier. Pritchard's been doing it since the beginning of the season. He's played more off the bench than Malik Beasley has. But it is a very, very close race, I'd say.
I think this was such a huge win for the Pistons, too, because it wasn't just like a monster Cade Cunningham game where, he went for 38 or 40 or something like that. Or even Beasley. I mean, this is a great game, don't get me wrong. But everybody was chipping in. I thought the Cade, Jalen Duren pick and roll was giving the Boston's defense sort of nightmares. They were really exploiting that. You had, like you said, you brought up Tobias Harris, like fighting at least a bigger guy in Porzingis. He chipped in. He's just steady Eddie there with Tobias Harris. That's what you're hopefully getting from him. And all these other guys, like you said, the Asar Thompson sort of defense leading to offense. Like that was just a good quality team win. And this team, man, last year, 14 wins. Longest losing streak in NBA history. It's almost oddly forgotten. And now they're like going to be knocking on 44, 45, 46 sort of win campaign. I think that's the hope here. And what they brought in vets. They got Bickerstaff and obviously got some shooting around Cade, and he's leveled up. It's a good team quality win.
The Pistons are so good right now that Killian Hayes scored 19 points in a game last night. It was for the Nets, but even Killian Hayes is playing better. Basically, they said, "See you later, Monty Williams," and everybody's good now.
Yeah.
Getting Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr. is perfect. Literally all they do is shoot threes. 72% of Beasley's attempts are three-pointers, 68% of Tim Hardaway Jr.'s. I didn't look into the actual details of it because my guess is that in half-court situations, it's like 90% each. Those guys aren't taking twos unless it's a fast break, but that's what they needed. They needed some shooting around Cade, and Cade needed to realize, I'm a big guy.
Yeah.
I'm huge. I can actually push people around and be physical inside rather than trying to be a finesse guy. And it definitely helped for this team.
The Pistons led 90-79 going into the fourth quarter, and then they scored the first 8 points of that fourth quarter, and it was Beasley poking away a ball from Payton Pritchard, and then in transition, it was like 3-on-1 for the Pistons. This is to your point, TK. He took a three. Like, it was like very blatantly 3-on-1, but he goes to his three-point line. He hit that three. Then Drew Holiday got called for sort of like an illegal screen, so it was Pistons ball again, and Beasley was involved in that. And what'd they do? They stuck with the hot hand because Beasley had hit a couple at the end of the third quarter too. Great off-ball action. Great call from Bickerstaff, well run by the Pistons. A lot of like picks being set, and it ended with Beef Stew getting a second pick because he set one on Cade, then set one on Beasley, who was setting one on another guy, and that got him a good look. He banged home a three, and just like that, that's 6 points, and sort of got the lead to a very comfortable or manageable at least for them to run this score up. It was awesome start to the fourth.
Yeah, Cade will take a shot from anywhere now. He's just so comfortable. This is another level for this guy. I wonder if there's another level for this team. They are not that far from hosting a playoff series. They're super close. It's just a game back of fourth for them. They'd have to, jump Milwaukee and Indiana, but they're super duper close, and they play tough at home. There's no doubt.
Any other notes from the Detroit Pistons, man? Riding high.
My favorite Malik Beasley shot was when he took a three from the left wing, missed, didn't move, the ball bounced straight back to him at the left wing, he caught it, knocked down the three that time, shook the wang like crazy. You call it a shimmy, but that's how I air dry after a shower. And that was maybe not even the coolest three-pointer of the night. At one point, Drew Holiday trying to beat the buzzer, he finds Derek White in the corner. Derek White jumped, caught the ball in the air, and made a three from the corner. It was an alley-oop three.
That was
That's
awesome.
weird, man.
Yeah.
That looked super odd. And when that went in, you're like, uh-oh. Uh-oh, Pistons. But they came out in the third quarter and were awesome.
Yeah, you sometimes see the no-dip shot, like Clay pulls it out. But that was even a jump shot. It wasn't even like having any sort of cradling of the ball. It was just real quick. That was really impressive. And to see a game where the Celtics outscored the Pistons by 24, had 8 more threes. And still, the fun part is Malik Beasley hitting threes, and they come out and win because they were doing so many other things.
Great stuff there from the Pistons. Leading the show. Is it the first time in No Dunks history? At least positively, it might be. Yeah, Monty Williams, obviously. We talked up that, shit show and him quitting on the team.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we even started the show with that. So good stuff for the Pistons fans.
Longest win streak since 07-08. That's a long time, dude.
All right, let's move to a couple other games. The Thunder bounced back from a loss the other night and had a huge fourth quarter blitz to beat the Nets 129-121. They unleashed an 18-0 run in the fourth quarter and again turned like a 4-point deficit, I guess, into a 117-103 lead. They were like, hey, we should play hard here for a couple minutes against the Nets, and that's what they did.
Yeah, they're playing with their food a little bit.
Yeah.
It caught them against Minnesota. Yeah. They're also trying to figure out Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein playing together. Hartenstein was back, rocking a mask on his face. But the 18-0 run at the start of the fourth quarter, no Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and I think that's huge for the Thunder. J-Dub scored 10 of his 13 points in the fourth before SGA checked back in. Chet Holmgren went for 9. I also thought Aaron Wiggins was super helpful in those minutes. He was a more effective zone breaker than Alex Caruso was in the Minnesota game, catching the ball at the free throw line. If the jumper's there, I'll take it. If not, I can create for somebody. But that's a question that OKC is going to have to answer in the playoffs because teams will sell out to get the ball out of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's hands. We've seen times where Jalen Williams isn't a super efficient second scorer, maybe isn't getting to the rim, wants to settle for the pull-up jumper, which can be a problem if they're missing. They need a go-to second guy. It can be J-Dub, it can be Chet at times. So I think it's encouraging to see those two guys be the big reason that they pulled off this comeback in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it's a good call. We were so close to the Nets sort of backdooring their way into a play-in tournament spot. It was so close. If they come out and win this game, they're only a half game back of the Bulls, tied in the loss column. And we know who plays harder and better. It's this Nets team. And so it was super close. And it's not over. They can still catch the Bulls, but they couldn't overcome OKC. And yeah, it is good to see the depth of OKC and how many stars they have and how many literal all-stars they would have had if Chet was there the entire season. It would have been totally different. But that is something different for them to see who the number 2 guy is between Chet and Jalen these last 25 games. It is important.
Let's keep it moving here.
I got some more stuff.
Oh, okay.
Cason Wallace made a bunch of really big plays.
He had 2 huge steals there,
Yeah, he had a tough finish that tied the game on a fast break. Then he had 2 almost back-to-back steals. I think there was another possession in there at half court. First one was like an easy dunk. Second one, he threw it on a monster dunk. That was when the game was over. And I got to say, Day'Ron Sharpe is good. This guy is a restricted free agent in the summer, and the Lakers should go after him. 25 and 15 last night, plus 5 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks, went 8 of 10 from the field, 2 for 3 from the three-point line. They're already paying Nick Claxton a lot of money to be their starting center. Day'Ron Sharpe isn't much worse. He might be just as good as Nick Claxton is, so I think this is a guy that people should be after come summertime.
Awesome night for people named Sharpe. We'll get to Shaedon Sharpe, but he did have a good game, dude.
Yes. No, yeah, I just wanted to comment on he had a nice dunk. He's good. That's all.
Okay.
He's good.
Nothing more, nothing
good.
less. He is good. Yeah, I thought he was going to have a dunk of the night until Shaedon Sharpe.
Oh, yeah, that was over. Amen Thompson He's back. Remember, he got ejected, but he was back in the lineup. He had 25 points. He looked good. Rockets win over the Spurs, 118-106. Any Houston, San Antonio notes here?
Well, this was a real blowout. The Rockets' third stringers allowed the Spurs to sort of get back into it. This was a bigger discrepancy. Right. This was huge. The Spurs starters all scored in single digits. That's a shocking number to see. De'Aaron Fox, Chris Paul, Devin Vassell, all single digits because of the Rockets' defense. And I mentioned the starters of the Spurs going up against the starters of the Rockets. It's very interesting what Ime Udoka is doing right now, because we all wondered, when Jabari Smith is out, Thompson, he went and stole that starting spot. So Jabari Smith's not going to start, but he did start this game. Tari Eason was starting some games alongside Amen Thompson. Ime Udoka's trying things out here, and Tari Eason looked great shooting corner threes, and he's basically trying these starting lineups that I think he may throw out there in the first round matchup, whoever they play. I mean, it is going to be a tough team that they play in the first round, and Ime Udoka is literally trying things out right here, right now. Whether it's Easton starting, Jabari Smith starting, Amen Thompson looks to be almost their backup starting point guard right now with what he's doing in place of Fred VanVleet. But they just have a bunch of guys, and Ime Udoka's trying it. It's going to be a fun first round in the Western Conference.
Yeah, I wonder what the starting lineup will look like when Fred VanVleet comes back, because Thompson is kind of handling the ball a lot. Jalen Green obviously is getting touches as well, but you assume VanVleet will be back in the starting lineup, so I don't know. Who would they sit? They need Jabari shooting, I think. They need Dylan Brooks' shooting.
Yeah, sometimes
Jalen Green has been on a heater.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they may play it game by game.
Question marks to be answered, but no Victor Wembanyama, obviously, for the Spurs. They had no interior defense in this one. 16 of Amen Thompson's points were in the paint. 10 of Jalen Green's points were in the paint as well, and it was like a footwork clinic from Amen Thompson. Yeah. Watching him play, it looks like when people are trying to drag Michael Jordan, they're like, look at how the GOAT was guarded back then. He's dribbling the ball inside the three-point line, so 2-point range, and the defense is still playing underneath the free throw line, daring him to take the shot, and he's not going to really take it. Yeah. He still wants to drive to the hoop, so he's got to get really crafty. And he was looking really crafty with his in and out dribbles, his up and unders. He just had a whole bunch of really, really good moves to be able to score and score efficiently. So that was pretty impressive, and I wonder how soon De'Aaron Fox is going to get shut down here, because he's stinking it up right now. His last 3 games, including last night, he went 7 points, 3 of 12 from the field. Prior to that, 15 points on 6 of 21 shooting. Prior to that, 13 points on 3 of 16 field goals. Spurs don't really have anything to play for now that they're dropping down the standings and Victor is out. I know Fox has had some hand and finger issues, which probably are affecting the way he's playing, but I imagine that they will give him a nice little surgery here pretty soon.
You think something's coming down the pipeline?
He didn't come to the Spurs to miss the play-in. He came to the Spurs to try and win some games, and unfortunately, the team stinks without Victor. So get him healthy for next year.
Yeah, it's probably the right play. He's definitely struggling, like you said, and can't hit a 3 to save his life right now, too. I think he's hit 3 threes over that 3-game span, and he's turning the ball over a ton, too. It's like 12 or 13 turnovers over those last 3 games. So everything is bad. Yeah. Not just the shooting, but you're also coughing it up, and maybe they will shut him down. Other games last night, bunch to pick from here. He hit a bunch of threes, beat the Hawks. Halliburton, he's cooking right now. 33 and 11. Pacers beat our Raps. Brunson and Bridges played well for the Knicks in a win over the 76ers. Harden scored 30 in a close game against the Bulls, but they got the victory. The Clips did. Murray scored 26 points for the Kings. They beat the Jazz. That's important in the Nut Dust Bowl standings. And then, we'll get to Shaedon Sharpe's eye-opening dunk that he had in a win over the Wizards. He had a really good game, too, which is the fun part. But any of those other ones you want to talk about?
Well, you mentioned Halliburton hitting 6 threes. That was more than the Toronto Raptors hit as a team.
Back-to-back games that a player has hit more than the team?
Yeah.
How often has that happened in NBA history?
Yeah.
Well, I bet it happened in the 80s.
Yeah, I was going to say, give me the last couple years.
Yeah.
That's got to be rare.
Yeah, that's surprising. And Halliburton has just been hot. 44% from 3 in January. Could he keep it up in February? Yeah, same number in February, 44 from 3. And I know you like to hear about the Raptors shooting threes or the things that they weren't doing well in this game. And I just want to say, Emmanuel, quickly, 38% from 3 overall in the season. But the weird thing is,
he made one last night.
He did.
One of the rare
Not
guys.
going down, baby. The weird thing is, no Scotty Barnes on the floor. You mentioned, hey, maybe the Spurs say, De'Aaron Fox, you sit down. The Raptors are already starting that. They sat Scotty, and I understand they've got 7 games in 13 days. Maybe he's got a bad hip.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. But really, I want to see them play together just to get reps because there's no Ingram right now, no Scotty Barnes in there in this game. Is it already started? It's February 26th last night. I thought it's like mid-March usually when they're just like
Shutdown time.
It's like when
Maybe.
March Madness distracts everybody and everyone's
Yep.
like, you aren't really paying all that much attention. No, they're starting early, baby.
They are starting early, but they did just sign Brandon Ingram to a good-sized deal. They signed Emmanuel quickly to a good-sized deal. He didn't play enough this season. I just want to see them play. I think they all should want to see each other play, so hopefully they do. But anyway.
That's the real question. Would you bet on all these, like, you're hoping your cornerstones for the Raptors moving forward? Will we all see them play in a game for the rest of this season? The same game. I'm talking, obviously, Brandon Ingram coming back. That's a huge question mark.
Yep.
And then Scotty Barnes quickly and RJ Barrett, let's say. Yeah.
Yeah. I say yes.
Oh,
I'm just staying positive. We got the Yak attack came back yesterday. Yak and Pirtle came back for the first time in a while. I thought, okay, things are good. He did come back. But I guess they are sitting Scotty. So I think they will play at them for some reason.
No, that's something to watch for.
Who knows?
TK, any of those other games you wanted to address?
Same thing is happening in Chicago. Vooch just is done. He's just done playing for the rest of the year. It's awesome. James Harden, you mentioned he killed the Bulls last night. 30 points, 7 threes, 27 and 6 in the second half. Hit a dagger and just a clutch Bulls loss when you consider all the other results last night as well. Josh Giddey went 4 for 4 from 3. Since the All-Star break in 4 games, he's 14 of 18 from 3.
Yeah.
This is terrible news. The guy's going to get paid.
Yeah.
But, it's good. If you want to lose games, he is the perfect guy to have as the head of your snake.
Yeah.
But, man, he's putting up some numbers right now that the season's over.
It must be infuriating if you're a fantasy basketball player right now, or it's going to be. This stretch, right? Like you might have like these guys on your team, Scotty Barnes, Vooch, like a lot of players, and you're like, oh crap, now they're gonna start like shutting them down, or you're not gonna know, and it's like now you got to start hitting the waiver wire and picking up some crazy named guys. Like that's what you got to do. That's like I sort of stopped playing this. Like man, I don't have that much time to try and win this thing. So good luck out there is all I'm saying.
Yeah, good luck to you.
Yeah,
maybe pick up Josh Giddey. He's like 25 and 15 every night right now, and they're losing. It's great stuff. Great stuff. That's ethical tanking is I think what they call it. I knew it was time for me to go to bed last night when I was enjoying watching Jonas Valanciunas versus Kyle Filipowski. That was just very
Shut it down.
It was literally like a grown son playing against his dad. Trying to push him, he couldn't get anywhere. Kings went 8 for 20 from 3 in the second half of this game, which is a good percentage, 40%, but they hit 5 in about 5 minutes, like the last 30 seconds of the third quarter into the beginning of the fourth quarter. They hit 5 threes, turned an 8-point game into a 22-point game. I said, good night.
Yep. Night. Drop the lights, put the lullaby music on. People were liking that idea for the night celebration.
Ran upstairs.
We got to get in front of the Warriors, PR, or not PR team, but what's a game ops team. Say, come on, you got to do this on the night celebration.
Get him on the call for sure. Yeah. Oh, you just said Kyle Filipowski playing against his dad type of thing. I mean, he winked in a game last week. Maybe he learned it from dad because only old people really wink. And I assume you got it from him. I got a tweet. It's a great wink. You just don't see winks on basketball floors too often.
Only old people wink.
Yeah.
This is an interesting.
I think it's gone by the wayside. It's like a millennium/boomer thing.
You'll be happy to know then. We're trying to teach my little niece, who's like 3 or 4, to wink. But she can't not wink without like giving like a thumbs up. It has to go together. It's very cute. I wish I had a photo right now.
That's very funny.
So we're trying to teach the younger generation. Keep winking.
I think you gotta keep it going.
Yeah,
you gotta keep it going.
You gotta teach them eye stuff. Like, right now, Ada's really into eyebrows up. 2 of them, and I'm trying to get her to do the rock eyebrow.
Yeah.
I've never.
She's like, how do you do it?
Yeah.
I was like, you just got practice.
Yeah, that's tough.
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah. I think that's another thing that only old people do. The one
eyebrow? Yeah, it's gone
so.
by the wayside, unfortunately.
It's got to come back.
All right, let's get into a little true or false. Yeah, it's been a while since we played true or false, and as promised, we'll talk about the big dunks and Tatum and Paul George. But let's start with that Shaedon Sharpe throwing down a vicious one-handed slam in DC last night. It was part of a career-best 36-point performance that carried the Blazers to the 129-121 win over the Wizards. He cocked that back so far and threw it down on Champagny there, who also had the turnover. I mean, it was a really bad possession for him. But what a dunk. So the true or false question, who wants to get us started here? True or false? Shaedon Sharpe did have the dunk of the year.
I say false. It didn't hit home to me.
What?
Yeah.
What? You're a Canadian, man.
I know Champagne came in there and he sort of dunked on somebody.
Yeah,
But that's the important part for me. You got to jam on someone. He kind of did. It looked super cool. He almost lost his balance. He almost was the way he his legs got sort of taken out from under him as Champagne kind of hit his leg.
So
there.
hold on. Can I just clarify?
I mean,
You're
cool.
saying it's not on Champagne enough for you, right?
I don't know. I'm just saying the most unique dunk this year, I think, was Ja Morant's double pump reverse against the Celtics. I think that was the sexiest, most unique dunk. These ones are kind of poster-esque. I kind of thought Jalen Duren did it to the Clippers the other day. I know it's Jalen Duren, it's different, but he kind of got parallel to the floor, sort of like Shaedon Sharpe was doing there for a sec. I don't know, I'm being picky.
Yeah,
Ja Morant sticks out to me. There's a bunch of freaking good ones, but I go Ja.
Okay, TK, you agree with Tass? It's a false, or are you going true here?
I'm going to go, this is true because it's the dunk of the year that counted. Ja Morant on Wemby still takes this.
Right. It didn't count.
It didn't count, though.
Yeah,
it wasn't actually even a field goal attempt.
Nope.
That was just a cool thing that
It was
we
like
all
an
saw
NBA
happen.
Cup final.
Exactly right.
It
That's
didn't really
exactly
happen.
what it was like. It happened. We all saw it. It was very cool, but it did not count for anything. So this is now the dunk of the year. And it's interesting you mentioned the Ja Morant double pump reverse because that was a Vince Carter dunk from back in the day. And this is really similar to Vince's dunk on Frederick Weiss. It is a dangerous situation to just throw an inbounds pass and have it get picked off because it's like an instant runway for a guy like Sharpe, Vince Carter way back in the day to do a dunk like this. The only good thing, I guess, is that Champagne got out of the way rather than Frederick Weiss, who got completely leapt over. But it looks like Champagne's even celebrating after this dunk. I hadn't seen this like baseline angle, but he's like, oh, that was cool.
I love that he flushed it like through the rim with such force that he does tumble to the ground. And I was wondering, like, does that make the dunk cooler or like subtract from it to you when a guy dunks so hard that he falls over and hits the ground? I can't decide. On one hand, it's like, wow, there was so much force that he's going to the ground, but then it's like, does it lose its cool factor
I
a little
think so.
bit? A little bit.
It does to
okay,
me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not as great as a dismount. I just want a perfect dismount.
Perfect dismount. Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
I
Dunk was so good though that the NBA basically immediately dropped a 10-minute Shaedon Sharpe dunk compilation, so they knew how good it was.
Timely.
I know what you're wondering though. What's the dunk score? Tell me the dunk score. It was good. It was very high. It registered, Sharpe's dunk, a 113.9. Yes, remember, it's out of 120.
Classic,
No
yeah.
one really knows why. 113.9. People are like, that's got to be the highest of the year. It's not. Quentin Grimes
Grammy.
still has the highest dunk score of the year. We have the dunk here. He registered over 118
Quentin
for that
Grimes.
dunk on Luke Cornett. And so this one, Taz, definitely, it is more on Luke Cornett.
Yeah.
Contest score,
But
I'm
Sharpe
sure.
is way higher. I think looks way cooler. So it's just interesting that got the, maybe it was helped out by the contest or the power. I don't know. Who
Yeah,
knows?
or the giant man trying to block the
Yeah,
shot.
yeah.
I mean, the
Helpful.
7-footer helps.
Yeah.
The dunk on Zach Edey I saw from Yves Misi earlier this season, it helps just being a giant man. All the dunks on Wemby this year, we've mentioned Keontae George, DeAndre Hunter. There's been a ton of them. John Morant, that wasn't a dunk. So yeah, the dunks against the 7-footers or larger, that gets extra points to me. I'm not in the NBA stats office thinking about what is the highest dunk score, but I think height plays a difference to me.
Here's what this one has going for it, though, and I think why I go true right now. It's the dunk of the year. The photos are awesome. The photos look unreal because he is so freaking high. And Champagne, man, I wish he did stay in the play a little bit more. Like he would have been, like collapsed. He may have broken his arm. In all honesty, the force that Sharpe was coming with, if Champagne like sort of stayed in front of the rim more, but he sort of got out of the way a little bit.
It's kind of like
I'll go true.
Anthony Edwards over Anthony Black. When Anthony Black kind of got out of the
Like,
way.
sort of coward.
Yeah. a
Yeah.
little bit, yeah.
Anyway, awesome dunk there from Sharpe in a really good game, like his best game ever as a pro, 36 points. So that's fun.
Season high? Career high?
Career high, I believe.
Yeah, career high.
Yeah.
I didn't know which one it was,
Yeah.
but yeah, he was hooping out there. I think 4 of the 5 highest jumps on a dunk are from Shaedon Sharpe. No surprise.
yeah,
I forget what the other one was.
And this is like just another example of why like we have been like, please go in the dunk contest. Like you can fly, dude. Like, but yeah, whatever. At least we saw Mac McClung jump over a car. That was cool.
He did jump over a car.
All right, let's get to our next one here. Celtic star Jayson Tatum believes he's overlooked in conversations about the NBA's best. Quote, honestly, no, Tatum told the Washington Post's Michael Lee when asked if he felt adequately appreciated. Tatum went on to say, if you took the name and the face away from all my accomplishments and you're just like, this is what this player A accomplished at 26 years old, people would talk about me a lot differently. End quote. My question for you guys, for the stream team, for the podcast listeners, true or false? Jayson Tatum doesn't get enough recognition.
I think it's both. Because to me, he gets recognized a lot. 4-time All-NBA, 6-time All-Star, Eastern Conference Finals MVP, All-Star MVP, All-Rookie. That's 13 awards, plus a title. He does get recognized a lot. I think everybody agrees Jayson Tatum's a top 10 guy in the league.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he's on, the edge of the top 5 and obviously shows up every single year. His team is good, but he's definitely right that if you gave these accomplishments to somebody else, maybe they get talked up a little more because they maybe have a little sexier game and a little sexier personality, which is why I think the Tim Duncan comparison is fine. It doesn't fit perfectly to me, but it's great player. His team is always awesome.
Winner, yeah.
And kind of an ensemble team as well. Yeah. I think you would say about the Spurs, just like the Celtics. They both had teams that were perfectly built around strengths of a Tatum or a Duncan. And, the personality is maybe what's lacking here. Because what do you know about Jayson Tatum? He loves his son and he loves financial literacy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like I know more about Deuce than I do Jayson Tatum because Deuce is everywhere, man. Yeah. He's got great PR.
Same high school as a Kachuk, was it?
Yeah,
that's right.
That's great.
Matthew?
Yes.
It's from St. Louis.
Family friend of Bradley Beal.
Yep. Yep.
There we go.
Okay.
We don't know a lot.
Do you think are you true or false though? Do you think he's right? Tatum's right here?
Yeah, it is both. Yes and no. He gets a ton of MVP votes every single year. He's finished 4th, finished 6th. He was right there. The guys who get more recognition, it's Jokic, it's Shea, it's Giannis. It's not a lot. It's not a ton of guys.
Yeah.
And Steph and LeBron because they've been around for a billion years. But I think in the fact the media just doesn't have the capacity to talk about 5 guys a ton, and they talk about the top 3 or 4, and that's it. More so, and I guess he didn't ascend and peak immediately. There was this plateau of conference final, 6 conference finals, and so there's that, right? His story wasn't written. Here he comes in the league, he wins a frickin' title right away. Even Derrick Rose's, I would say, ascended faster. So that kind of thing didn't happen for him. That being said, people talk about him. The personality is part of it. I do agree, but the better players are talked about.
Yeah,
a little bit more. That's for sure.
I mean, he's had sustained success here, no doubt. One of the jokes when he was must have been year 2 or 3 was we called him 12-time Tatum because we were he's going to make 12 All-Star teams. That's looking like it's probably going to be true. I remember that was a running gag. Yeah, might be low for sure. And he's a winner again. I think he's made the playoffs every year of his career. And like you said, went to a ton of conference finals, has been to 2 finals, obviously won one. I think this whole thing right now is unfortunately for him in terms of conversation or being discussed is, his teammate, Jaylen Brown, played really well in last year's conference finals and then into the finals. So that was part of it. And then we had the Olympics part of it where he was a huge topic because he wasn't playing on a stacked team that ultimately won gold. So it's okay, who cares? So it was a sort of a pecking order of where he still stands amongst some of the best of the best. But he's awesome. And will he win an MVP is a fun sort of question to think about. Will he get one before his career's all said and done? He isn't really in his prime yet, which is insane to think about. What do you think? If you were betting man, would you say, one at least for Tatum, or is he going to always be that guy that's basically 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th?
What are the odds, man? I guess I'd have to know on that because the Celtics ran through the NBA last year and Tatum finished 4th in MVP voting.
6th last year.
6th last year?
4th the year before.
Okay, well, if he couldn't win last year.
Right.
When they were clearly the best team. I mean, there's a lot of good players in the league right now.
Yeah.
Victor Wembanyama's coming, hopefully.
Yeah, I think that's the only reason why he isn't talked about, really, as much as those guys, the guys who are up for MVP this season.
He's got every recognition you could possibly want, except MVP.
Yeah.
Right.
and Finals MVP.
Yeah. But,
Yeah.
Hey, maybe this
Hey,
year.
there's levels to it, man.
Yeah. It's a little like Donovan Mitchell, I think, with the Cavs right now. I know it's a different type of player, but Tatum's taking a tiny step back to make his team better. And that's a great thing. And that's how they win
That's
the
the thing.
finals.
Tatum's gotten better at rebounding, definitely better at playmaking.
Yeah.
Probably just being a leader in general. Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's just like, the numbers dip, the scoring numbers dip. So,
Yeah.
they're not as like, whoa, Shea's scoring over 30. Obviously, Jokic is a triple-double machine.
Even Luka.
Yeah.
The talk is more
Right,
about
right.
Luka, for sure.
Yeah, what do you think? That might be a fun poll question. Will Tatum win an MVP in his career? That's a good point. Yeah, Wemby. I mean, Luka still he
I
doesn't
think
have one.
our friend John Schumann is right. He's here in the stream team. He said the Celtics would probably have to finish first or second with Jaylen Brown missing a bunch of games.
Yeah, like a narrative like spin.
Less
yeah.
help.
Yeah, which is unfortunate for Tatum, but probably some truth to that. Good stuff there, Shu. All right, next one here. Let's get to it. Yesterday, Paul George announced that he will be load managing his Podcast P episodes for the time being. Here's a short clip that was making the rounds.
With that being said, though, I want to let the Podcast P family know that after today's episode with Dwight, I plan to take a break from the pod just to focus on getting my body right, getting mentally right, and, help this squad make a push towards our goal to finish the season out, give ourselves a chance to be in contentions to compete for a championship.
Okay, so that's Podcast P himself there saying the show's going on hiatus. True or false, TK? We'll start with you. Paul George taking a break from podcasting is smart.
I think this is false. I think it's hilarious. Sixers were 17 games under 500, now 18 games under 500, and Paul George says now is the time to focus on basketball. This is the time you need to focus the least on basketball. What about the previous 3 months? Like a month ago, I was talking on the show that I got fooled by a photoshopped YouTube thumbnail that said, Paul George says podcasting is harder than playing basketball. It turned out to be fake, but this is real.
That's real. That's him.
real, man. Then he went out and scored the most points he has in a month.
Yeah.
Unbelievable stuff.
Because he
from
doesn't
Paul
have to
George.
worry about who's updating the Google Doc. And what are we going to do in the B block? The games weren't all that interesting. And Pick'em's already over. So, geez, you got to fill an hour for the people. It's a lot of stress. All right. So that's why it's all off his shoulders and he can go out and hoop.
Too good.
What do you think?
I think not enough people are talking about Draymond Green and what he's doing right now. The guy's podcasting and basketballing very, very well. And his team's getting better. Right. And he's still podcasting. It's hard to do both. I think that's what this proves.
Wow.
And it is good to take a step back and not play basketball. You said 18 games under 500. We've talked about the Philadelphia 76ers probably every single day, and it still doesn't register to me that they're 18 games, and they don't have a lot of time left. It is way too late, and he should have done this earlier, unfortunately. Yeah.
Well, and this is why people. Okay, like he's spinning it like I got to get my mind right. Got to like lock in here for a potential play-in or playoff push.
No, he said championship contention.
Sorry. Championship contention. Hey, damn, do the impossible, Paul. But other people are saying, really what's going on here is even Paul George has reached the point where it's like, we are so bad, I've played so poorly, that it's maybe a weird look for once a week to be like, Dwight Howard, man, what was your welcome to the NBA moment? Like that type of, like, it's like, whoa, man, like, this is really bad, and you can't ignore it. So just maybe shut it down for a little bit. That's what some people think, which is fair.
Yeah. It is.
It's like at a certain point, it's got to be a little embarrassing, I think.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people are doing what he's doing. I know everybody has a podcast, but I don't think everybody's dropping weekly podcasts.
No, it's. I mean, that's
I mean, a lot are. Draymond is.
Dre, yeah, for sure.
Kendrick Perkins called out Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson yesterday because they're podcasting and had lost the game. They went out and won, beat Paul
Right.
George, so they get to continue their podcast.
Right.
That was the podcaster go home match.
I made sure to watch like not just that little clip we showed you, but like sort of the minutes around that clip. And Paul George did talk also about like he didn't like the setup right now because they were doing a lot of like Zoom calls with the guys, and he wanted to like get back in studio. So I think Paul felt like maybe we've lost a little bit of the chemistry that we get podcasting together with the guys on the show, because they were doing the thing that you got to do, like maybe they're in their StreamYard or whatever, It's not the same. Doesn't hit the same. So he did say that too.
That's true, man. Yeah.
So maybe he's like, well, let me just go play basketball for a little bit. We won't win, and then we'll all get together. We'll do the playoffs. Get ready for the playoff push.
Oh, man.
Hey, man, he'll be free. He can podcast all playoffs long if he wants to.
Yeah.
I appreciate this, though, for a few reasons. Number one, less competition out there. Great news for us. Number two, it just lets people know how hard we work. Putting out a podcast every day. It's equivalent to playing NBA basketball. These guys complain about back-to-backs. We do back-to-back-to-back-to-back-to-back every week. Putting our bodies through the ringer to bring you classics every day.
Yeah.
And you're still playing basketball.
Good
He
point.
plays more basketball than Paul George plays, arguably.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's true.
Guaranteed I played more days
Yeah.
than Paul George has in the past year, and I'm playing the best I ever have.
There you go. There you go. I'll see you out there tonight, TK.
No, I had to cancel.
You're not playing tonight?
No.
What are you, Paul George?
I'm recording a podcast.
Damn.
I gotta go see a kid in a play. Gotta support my family.
Fair enough. I did. I had a laugh. I saw some blog write about this, and they wrote. I don't think it was tongue in cheek. They wrote, "Quote: Paul George knows what it takes for a deep playoff run. Putting his podcast aside shows his commitment to both the organization and its fans." End quote. Come on, man.
So true.
Come on, man.
And,
Come on. You gotta be kidding.
yeah. They haven't been, as soon as Morey signed Paul George, I thought maybe they'll take just a second look at this whole podcasting thing and take a step back, because they haven't been in studio, I don't think, at all this season, because he used to do it in LA. They were in studio.
Oh, right. That was a part of it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I thought they may take a step back.
Sorry, I'm
This
not
is-
actually a part of the podcast P family.
No.
Which I love that part of that quote too.
Yeah, but
La Familia.
on Wave, brought to you by Prize Picks or something. I don't know.
maybe,
It says PP on the top right
They're not paying
corner.
us to
They got a
ask.
watermark that says Prize Picks PP, but I thought that was Podcast P.
A
Who
lot of
knows?
Ps.
I'm not part of the family either. But I am very much surprised that it isn't on some websites just the minutes per NBA player that is podcasted this season. Like just podcast per minute of NBA.
yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, we have Dunk Score. We can't have that. Yeah.
Or just NBA podcast per minute.
sure.
Us on there as well.
Okay. You just want to make a
Yeah,
list.
basically, I just want a pat on the back.
That
some odd reason.
That's what the entire segment was.
Yeah,
Us
yeah.
talking about how hard it is to podcast. All right, final one here. Diana Taurasi, the leading scorer in WNBA history, announced her retirement this week after 20 seasons. Her career accolades are legit insane. In the WNBA, 3-time champion, was Rookie of the Year, won an MVP, 2-time Finals MVP, 5-time scoring champ, 11-time All-Star, 10-time All-WNBA first-team selection. She also became the first basketball player to win 6 Olympic gold medals. She also won 3 national championships with UConn. She won another 3 golds in the FIBA Women's World Cup, and she helped her team secure 6 EuroLeague titles. I'll stop there. So,
Whoa.
yeah. So, true or false, WNBA star Diana Taurasi is the GOAT.
I think so. Yes.
Hard to argue after that.
I know.
I don't want to fight it. I went and looked it up. I had a flashback to us. We started 19 years ago. And Diana Taurasi's career basically started at the same time. It was just before we did. I think the name that has come up on our NBA show in the WNBA world the most is Diana Taurasi. Out of all of them, because everybody has been talking about her. She was called the White Mama for a long time by Kobe, and she plays like that.
Yeah, that's the cool part of it.
That is the cool
Yeah.
part. She plays badass, and then she goes out and wins.
Yep.
A lot. So how can you take it away from her? Obviously, there's a lot of other great WNBA players. So I checked the list. I did all the listing. I checked.
I mean, who else?
I think so.
Okay. I mean, well, it's funny you said take it away from her because fans voted her the WNBA's greatest player of all time in 2021. That was part of the 25th celebration for the league. So she was voted the GOAT at the time, and I don't know why that would have changed, TK.
No, she's the only WNBA player to ever score over 10,000 points. Next highest on the list is under 8,000. So, like, she's far and away the best player. Second in minutes all time. Second in games. You mentioned she's won every single award and every single championship out there. It's awesome seeing, like, the trash talk stories that are going around about Diana Taurasi now coming into an Olympics meeting and saying to Draymond Green, hey, Draymond, how's it feel to be the only player in here who's never been double-teamed? Savage stuff. I thought that was bad until I saw her go on The View with Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi called her Diana Taurasi. So then once she finally announces her, they're all clowning Whoopi for mispronouncing her name. Diana sits down and says, hey, thanks, Whoopi. Got her!
Damn.
You trash talk Whoopi Goldberg, you're the GOAT in my book.
So
I've always said that.
Yeah, you always have said that.
I'm always bringing up Whoopi.
Yep.
Yeah, I heard Whoopi's name on Hollywood Squares, not Newlywed
Oh,
Squares.
yeah.
Hollywood Squares yesterday. They talked about Whoopi.
Have you watched it?
I watched it
episode?
yesterday for the first time.
Is it good?
Drew Barrymore.
I used to love that show when I was a kid. It was
Hollywood Squares?
Yeah,
Bruce
I
Valanche?
oddly
Yeah,
loved
that's
it.
cool.
Yeah, Drew was in the center square. Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
She's
Drew
great.
Barrymore, Center
Yeah.
Square.
Yeah.
Don't they have Triumph?
He was there. He, she,
comic?
whatever you call Trump. Yeah, right beside Drew.
Okay.
He was in the far left
Who else we
square.
got? Come on, give me some other names.
Whitney Cummings. What's the
okay.
fluffy Iglesias? What's his first name?
Gabriel.
Gabriel,
yeah,
of
yeah.
course.
And the premise is
Julio
the
Iglesias.
premise is there's contestants, and the people in the Hollywood Squares are giving like a real or fake answer. Is that how it is?
Yes, a real or fake fact.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you say it was real, then you get the letter in that square.
Right. And you're playing tic-tac-toe.
You are playing tic-tac-toe.
Ah, okay, yeah. Wow, fascinating game. No wonder I loved it.
Tic-tac-toe, sweet.
The celebrities part is fun.
Yeah.
Nate Burleson is hosting. Nate Burleson.
That's right. Nate
Canadian-American icon. He's born in Canada.
Really? He is?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
His dad was playing
He's a
CFL
football player,
His
yeah?
dad was
Yeah.
playing CFL football for the Calgary Stampeders, I think. Cool story, bro. Anyway, there's celebrities in each of the 9 squares. If you call Triumph a celebrity, I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Triumph's
who's the
a
biggest celebrity? Would you say?
Drew. I'd
It's
say Drew.
Triumph.
Wow.
No, it's Drew Barrymore by
Yeah.
far the biggest. Gets a little as you go deeper in the list. It's a little celebrity game
Yeah.
for me, anyways.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned Drew.
Yeah,
Whitney Cummings.
Yeah.
Gabriel Iglesias,
a bunch of
and then
comedians.
I can't think of anybody
Who
else.
else was
There's
there?
somebody. Oh, Phil Kogan is on it. The
Oh,
amazing race
that
guy.
Oh God.
Oh, yeah, he's on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Phil,
The
okay.
host,
Yeah,
Oh man, imagine Probst on it. It'd be great.
Wow, just came back, huh? Nice.
Yeah.
it was on right after Survivor.
Yeah, that's why I saw it.
Oh. All right. Cool. Well, there you go.
Cool.
Squares back, baby.
Yeah.
Just a breakdown of how Hollywood
Come on,
Squares works.
give me a good Hollywood Squares is back.
Hollywood Squares is back!
They might use that. They might clip that and use it.
Hey, man, I mean, with Paul George dropping out of the podcast game, we're climbing up the ranks. I'm looking for bottom left square.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'll tell a lie. Maybe it'll be a truth.
Wow.
Don't
Yeah.
want to sit underneath Triumph, though, I'll tell you that much.
What?
he poops on
What I mean to poop on.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I wonder if he's already said that. Be great.
Oh, if he hasn't said that, they're misusing Triumph and Robert Smigel.
Yeah. Let's get to Pick'em from last night. We're still doing this, seeing out the month of.
We're still doing
We're still doing
Hey, we're still doing it. Good news. The hat has arrived.
Yeah.
It's right over there. You walked right by it.
Oh!
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's awesome. This hat is way better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it's great.
It's so good, and Tass will start the payoff next week, Monday through Friday next week here from the, I was going to say from the Classic Factory. I don't know where he'll be, but it'll be fun. But let's just do another game tonight, I guess tomorrow too, just to see out the month of February here.
Yes. JD, I see it from here, and I've seen it. Speaking of squares, you're going to have to zoom out on that.
Oh, yeah.
That's what the
It's
first
pretty
thing,
tall.
First thing
It's
Nora
huge.
said. She's like, "How are you going to fit that in frame?" And I was
Yeah,
like,
it's gonna be tough.
I don't know.
It's going to be tough.
I don't know.
The alternate location is going to help with that.
Yeah, that's what I said to her.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's
So
gonna
we're-
be tricky.
So
there's no doubt.
we're almost guaranteed Tass alternate location with this giant hat.
Yeah, I'm still working on it, but yeah, I think so.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
okay.
great.
That'll be very funny.
Yeah, I'm too far back to make it up here, but I could complain. I definitely could
Hey,
complain.
good news, Tass. You'll be sitting down.
Yeah. Perfect.
Not like last time, Dave.
And have all the
I
corn
didn't
you
mind
want to.
standing up for an hour. I podcast 5 days a week. I can stand up for 1 hour. I enjoyed the standing up.
Yeah,
too.
that annoyed me when people were like, standing up for a whole hour.
No!
I'm standing right now.
Yeah,
Every single show
Also,
I'm standing.
Trey used to stand.
Exactly.
It's not that hard to stand for an I have a standing desk. I'm electing to stand. It's good for you.
I go to church every week. No, I don't. That's the most standing
What were
I've
you
ever
going to
done.
complain about?
Well, I could have made up a game when Luka played the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah.
The spread was bigger. It got bigger and bigger every moment, every
yeah,
minute.
yeah, but you put it
I
in
could have
early.
covered,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I could still be making it up. Doesn't matter. It's over.
I see what you mean.
Speaking of those Lakers, they're a favorite by 5.5 of the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think it's just going to be a great game. Yeah, it's just going to be fun.
All right.
That's why I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay. So we're split on this one. Trey and I going Lakers to cover.
Yeah,
6 or more.
That's right.
Yep.
Ash and I can still lose by 5 or less with the Minnesota Timberwolves pick, or win this team that just beat the Thunder.
I know we only care about who finishes last in Pick'em, but nice little battle at the top there between TK and Ash, and they're on opposite sides tonight.
Yeah, I picked opposite of him on purpose last night to try and make it exciting. I was in first on the dock going Lakers. I didn't know which way he was going to go, so I'm glad to see we got a little competition up top.
Here we go.
We got to get this guy a loss, though.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not really much we can do to make him pick the wrong ones.
No.
But we got to get him to do something dumb.
But he's just a couple times just got out of losing.
Yeah.
This is his best month, I think. A lot of
he-
times he was second.
good record.
Yeah, second last, I should say. Good job.
The
Ash.
punishment for him is most of it's going to be just driving in every day.
Yeah,
he lives so far.
Just got to sit for so long. That's tough.
Gas. Your punishment is gas money. You're screwed. All right, so we got a couple games on tonight. Warriors Magic at 7. Nuggets Bucks is our first game on TNT. Hold on. Our only game on TNT.
Yeah, that's
Wolves
the weird
Lakers
part.
is on NBA TV. Why? Why is it not on TNT tonight?
Why exactly?
Yeah, that is a great question.
I don't get that. Anyway,
They can't send
Hornets,
a broadcast
Mavs,
crew
Pelicans,
out there.
Suns.
Flex it. Why
Yeah.
wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you have it as a second game? Even if you don't
No
have a
idea what's
broadcast
going on
crew,
there.
just use the Lakers crew. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
So anyway, one game on TNT, and then NBA TV game is that Wolves Lakers, and a couple games Hornets playing the Mavs and Pelicans playing the Suns. Those are Nut Dust Bowl games. Very important. Very important games. Keep an eye on. All right, we'll call it there. Thanks so much for joining us. All you new Podcast P listeners, thanks for swinging by. Really appreciate it. We do this every day. We're built different. So hit the like button, subscribe. Podcast listeners, leave us a 5-star rating and review. Coming up at what? We not only podcast once a day, we sometimes go twice a day, like today, because
That's
No
right.
Buff Survivor is back. Nora will be joining us here in the Classic Factory to break down a very entertaining premiere episode of Survivor 48 last night. Lots to talk about, some great characters, some great moments. God damn it, I was crying in episode 1.
Me too, man.
I know. What a
very
what a-
nice.
It was
So early, so
beautiful.
early.
It was beautiful, man.
It was honestly, that's an all-time scene for me.
Oh,
And
wow.
that's
All right. Well, we'll talk about it.
All-timer. Welcome to the No Bus family, everyone.
Yeah.
And the No Ducks family.
Yeah.
So you were in both of our families.
Yeah,
Splendid families.
It's a fun podcast. Perfect time to get in because Survivor just started. So that's at 1 p.m. Eastern later today. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow for the drop. Till then, Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, we're not going to be able to talk about Paul George podcasting much the rest of the season. So I got to get a question in real quick here. Since you watched some of the clips, was Paul George interviewing Dwight Howard any good? Do I listen to Paul George talking to Dwight Howard? Did he ask him about why he's selling his house here in Atlanta?
I can't speak to that. I didn't watch the entirety of it.
I would
you
need to
can,
know.
I think you can skip.
I can skip over.
I think you
I
can
appreciate it.
But then again, maybe like you're saying, like this is the last podcast P for a while. Maybe get it in your system. He probably won't
Yeah,
be
I'm
back
gonna go
until
back.
April. Yeah,
I'm
take
gonna
your
go.
time.
I'm gonna binge. I haven't listened to any of them this year.
Wow, that should be a
Paul
pick a
George.
payoff.
Listen to all
You got to
Paul
listen to
George's
every
podcasts?
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be tough.
I would not want to lose, man.
That's tough, man.
That's rough.
That is tough.
Normal speed too.
Yeah.
No
Oh, yeah.
speed. No
Right, that's a good
1.2.
point.
No 1.5s.
Yeah,
none of that.
That's a cop out.
All right, brace the day, people.